Welcome, everyone. We are going to start off this evening with a public hearing for ordinance rezoning. I'll officially open the public hearing for ordinance rezoning 438 East Columbia Avenue from C2 Office and Institutional Commercial to C1 General Commercial. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this? Ms. Bizarre?
Yes, darling.
Please.
Could
you help with mic set? Thank you.
I wouldn't want y'all not to hear me. First of all, I did want to talk about the zoning, not because a lot of what we do as realtors, we don't just list and sell property. We constantly attend classes about growth, about a million subjects, and zoning is a great deal of what we do. Now, I know there are some new people. Please read your municipal handbook and attend classes. I beg of you. You owe that to the people who voted for you, because clearly a lot of people believe that you're not liable for the things you do. But please let me say, I've said this to the council for 13 years. The handbook says you are liable for actions that you take that you don't have to take and that you didn't do your homework on. Now, I preface that to say about the Leesville situation. I'm not so much against that in one sense, but let me tell you from a real estate perspective what went wrong. The agents are liable if there was an agent involved. If you sell a piece of property and you know the person you're selling it to is going to want to rezone that, it is incumbent upon you, the seller, to come to council and ask for the rezoning. It is not incumbent upon the purchaser, because the purchaser is buying something. They're buying a pig in a poke, because one, they are assuming that if they say they want a rezoning, that they're going to get it. And that's what happened at the piece of property on Pine Street. I knew what had happened. The seller's agent assured the buyer's agent, no problem here. Council will do what we want them to do. Please be careful. I'm not telling you to do the agent's part, but now I'm on record as telling you. So you are liable for the part you play in this. So when people just come up in here and go to just assuming that you're going to rezone, if you break your own laws, please understand, you're making them null and void, and you are liable. You can be sued. Maybe not you, but the next council, because the past councils have put you all in positions right now you are very liable for. So if someone tells you that, just look in your handbook and you'll see that you are not. Let me say this, because I spoke to Ted before we started.
Real quick.
I'm going to finish this thought so that it makes sense, and so then when it's in the paper, it makes sense. We need an architectural review board. Okay, you can't just have any kind of sign you want in this town. And when
ma'am, we're speaking on the
when
ordinance.
Properties are being rezoned and the texture of the buildings are changing, okay, there needs to be an architectural review process so that when people come into our town and look about locating business and industry here, these are sophisticated people. They know what they're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bizarre. Does anyone else like to speak on this ordinance, on this rezoning? Yes, please.
I'm taking off a different hat.
Jay.
Jay Hendricks, president at 437 East Church, so I can look across the train tracks and see it. And we've made a choice to buy property right on the edge of the commercial district. I am supporting this rezoning, and I think it's another benefit to the residents of the community to expand the animal hospital and services that they provide. So as a pet owner and a area resident, I support the rezone.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, certainly. And just state your name.
Sure. I'm Rhonda Holloman. I'm a practice manager and one of the owners down there at the two properties. Let me just say, we did our due diligence before this. We weren't necessarily sure we were going to need to rezone because we thought we were going to have a much smaller building, but our business is growing by leaps and bounds every day, and the building is bigger, and thus the need for rezoning. But before we ever purchased the property, we went to the town and asked, and we were told that what we can just do is join 432 and 438, make them one parcel, and would not necessarily have to do a rezoning. Since then, we've decided to keep the two properties separate in case 10 years from now when we want to sell one business, we may not want to sell both. So therefore, we did that. And also to let our neighbors know, we've done our due diligence. We're going to have a privacy fence. All the exterior walls are going to be foam filled to keep noise down, same way the current clinic is. And so we're doing everything to keep peace amongst our neighbors, to take care of all of your animals. We've seen pretty much everyone in here's animals at one time or another. And we're just fortunate to be in a town that is supportive of us, and we're going to do everything we can to take care of you guys as well.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak at this public hearing? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. And let's open up the regular council meeting for July 9, 2018 here in Batesburg-Leesville Town Hall Complex. If we could, if you would, Charles, please give our invocation.
Yes, sir. Let us pray together. Gracious God, our Heavenly Father, making creator of all heaven and earth. God, we come now, Father God, thanking you, God, for your grace and your mercy. We thank you, Lord God, for walking with us and talking with us, Lord, and giving us the wisdom and knowledge, Lord God, to be the best servants that we can possibly be. We ask that you come into our midst, Lord God, and bless this governing body, the city council, the administration staff, Lord God, and all the citizens of our community, state, country, and world. We need you, Lord, like we've never needed you before. Be for us what we cannot be for ourselves. These blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. If we could now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to the adoption of the minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes to adopt the regular council meeting on June the 11th.
Mr. Mayor, if we could get approval of the
Agenda, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'm going to go with Mr. Prowse on that, and a second from Mr. Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All any opposed? Passes unanimously. And now the adoption of the minutes for the June 11, 2018 regular council meeting. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Deloach and Mr. Simpkins. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Minutes are adopted unanimously. Adoption of the minutes for June 25th, 2018 special council meeting. Do I have a motion? Ms. Deloach, do I have a second? Mr. Simpkins, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Adopted unanimously. Adoption of the minutes, June 25th, 2018 council work session. Do I have a motion? Motion by Ms. Deloach. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Holman. Any discussion? All in favor? Raise your right hand. Any opposed? Approved unanimously. Moving on to item number 6, the mayor's report. Next regular council meeting will be August the 13th. We will not have a work session in July, lots of vacations, etc. And the item B, council council committees report. Central Midlands, Councilman Olin Gambrell.
Yes, sir. Central Council members met June 28th at 12 o'clock to go over the following items of interest to our area. $1.6 million for funding for vehicle funds for the comic system in Columbia. Total cost of a specific project for CMCOG of $611,000. The COG applications for CDBG will be opening August the 17th. These are 10% match grants. And their next meeting will be July 26th at 12 o'clock.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Gambrell? Moving on to item 2, Environmental Planning Advisory Committee, Mr. Prouse.
EPAC did not meet in the month of June. Our next scheduled meeting is next Wednesday, July 18th.
Thank you. And Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission did not meet, and we will not be meeting this month either. Moving on to the Batesburg-Leesville Chamber of Commerce update. I know Mike Taylor could not be here. Teddy, do you have anything from Mike?
No, he had mentioned he was gonna send me an update. I did not receive one. I know he went on vacation, so
Okay.
we can get that next month.
And just for council's information, when Mike returns, I'll have him email me an update and I will send it to everyone on council. Moving on to item 7, public comment regarding items on the agenda. Judy, do we have anything? Nothing. Moving on to unfinished business. This is a second reading of ordinance rezoning 438 East Columbia Avenue from C2 Office and Institutional Commercial to C1 General Commercial.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Simpkins and a second by Mr. Gambrell. Any discussion? I'm going to roll call. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
District 4 votes yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Passes unanimously. Moving on to item 9, unfinished business. It's a second reading of the sorry, just did it. New business. Item 9, thank you. Resolution establishing council's recognition of the importance of workplace safety. Whereas this is a resolution, whereas the mayor and town council recognize that the prevention of accidental losses affecting employees' property and the public will enhance the operating efficiency of town government, and whereas a proactive loss control posture requires that sound loss prevention measures are of primary consideration and take precedence over expediency in all operations. Now therefore be it resolved that the town will endeavor to provide a work environment free of recognized hazards through the establishment and implementation of loss control policies and procedures, and their subsequent amendments and additions designed to provide protection to town employees, public and private property, and members of the public. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Move to adopt by Mr. Gambrell and seconded by Ms. Hallman. Any discussion? I'm going to do a roll call. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
District 4 votes yes.
District 5 is District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The resolution passed unanimously. Moving on to resolution waiving facility rental fees for Dream Catchers events at Leesville College Park and Wilson Street Park. The Batesburg-Leesville Chamber of Commerce Youth Committee, called Dream Catchers, will be holding 2 events as a thank you to the youth for their hard work with summer community service events on July 20th and another date to be determined in fall. Whereas the youth of the Dreamcatchers held 2 days of litter pickup throughout the community and cleaned up planter boxes along Railroad Avenue in the Batesburg Business District. And whereas Dreamcatchers, a nonprofit organization, requests a waiver of rental fees associated with the rental of Leesville College Park, shelter of $150, and Wilson Street Park, $150 for these 2 events. And whereas the Dreamcatchers will complete an application for reservation and identify contact person for instances of damage or other responsibilities. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Motion 6. By Mr. Mitchell, and a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Prowse. Any discussion? I'm going to roll call this. District 1? 2?
Yes.
4?
District 4 votes yes.
And District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes, it passes unanimously. Moving on to discussion regarding ordinance related to the town's employee policy and procedure manual. This item was tabled, and I am looking for a motion in order to discuss it. We need a motion to take it from the table.
I make a motion to take it from the table.
Motion made by Mr. Gambrell, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Simpkins. Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
2?
Yes.
4? To take it from the table? District 4?
District 4 votes yes.
District 5?
No.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion passes. This time I'll be looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt on second reading the ordinance related to the town's employee policy procedure manual as approved in first reading some time ago.
Before we get a second, can we have the discussion?
I think we have to get the second to have the discussion.
Second.
Well, it's on the agenda as a discussion.
We're in discussion now.
We have a
We have a motion and a second. So we're in discussion now. So we have a motion and we have a second and we have discussion now. Any discussion?
Now, my understanding is that if an item is on the agenda for discussion, that it should be, should come up for discussion before any action is taken.
So it's up for discussion right now.
Under the motion.
We've got a motion and a second. We've got a motion and a second, so now it is up for discussion.
For to vote on it or to move it from the table?
The table passed, and this is a vote to adopt the second reading. So this is your time to discuss. Our time to discuss. The motion is to adopt the second reading as a repeal and replace. So this is our time to discuss that.
Well, can you restate the motion?
The motion is to adopt second reading of the ordinance as it was presented and approved at first reading. I suppose it was 2 months ago.
Can you restate the first approval?
The motion is going to, as I understand it, is second reading of an ordinance to repeal and replace the town's employee policy and procedures manual.
Correct.
That's the way I understand it.
Any discussion?
Now, can you explain to us what we're voting on to do?
So, as with the first reading, it was the 2009 updates that received one reading updates in 2014 and twice in 2015, upon learning that the Employee Policy and Procedures Manual was actually adopted by ordinance. And then there were changes in 2017 that were done by 2 readings. So what you have right now is an ordinance that has 2009 updates that were 2 reading in place, has a number of updates that were done and approved by council, but only by 1 vote prior to learning that it was an ordinance. Had been adopted by ordinance in 2014 and 15. Once we had learned it was an ordinance, there are changes that were made that had 2 readings. So it's just this mix of different things, and so this ordinance was to just repeal the old and replace it with the one that's currently being used, and it's in motion.
And everything is the same as what the work session that we just had on this topic, where we spent a lot of time going through this. Everything is the same.
Everything's the same.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, on this policy, I was told by your mayor that the only thing that was being changed is was the holiday thing, and that wasn't true, because I read it, and that wasn't true. There was more change in that policy
And
than
you were-
just the holiday.
And you were provided all the red lines of all those other changes that were made so that you could look through and verify.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, that, and if I did say that, I misspoke, because I'm very,
Yes, it is.
then my apologies, and I'm very clear, and I have a very clear understanding of what is in front of me. Any other discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
District 4 votes no.
District 5?
District 5 votes no, of course.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes, ordinance passes. Moving on to item number 10, manager's report. Town Manager Ted Luckadoo, please take the stand, if you would.
Good evening, good evening.
All right. Item A, MASC annual meeting and regional advocacy meetings.
All right, I believe we have 6 council members attending this year's annual meeting. So that'll make a total of 8 people from the town represented, which I can say in 4 years I've been here is the largest representation we've had at the annual meeting, which I think is wonderful. Great training opportunity, which Ms. Bizarre spoke about, good opportunity to go and receive training. Just as a reminder, it does begin Thursday, July 19th, for those of you that are attending this meeting. Wednesday night would be the first official stay because we begin bright and early Thursday morning. So just a reminder on your dates there. Also, I had sent an email out about the Municipal Association hosting regional advocacy meetings, which is an opportunity to gain input into the development of what's going to be the 2019 initiatives that the Municipal Association will go to the State House and represent us on. There will be a lot of talk and input from council members or staff that attend this as to what are those priorities, what do we want to make priority for 2019. As well, the legislative team will do updates on things that were passed in 2019 and different topics that are popping up that will be really important. So if you want to come and hear these initiatives, the old initiatives that were passed and the things that are likely to be hot topics in the near future, let me know. This is going to be September 22nd at 11 o'clock at the Casey Tennis and Fitness Center, which is over off exit 2 off of I-77 on that 12th Street.
Ted, can you repeat that date again?
September 22nd
Okay.
at 11 a.m.
I'm looking at the email, and it might have been a typo. It says September 11th on the one that you sent.
Actually, I might have typoed it on this because I think you were right on September 11th.
Yeah.
I typed it wrong on my paper over tonight. So correction on that, September 11th.
So the 11th is the correct date.
It is the correct date. Thank you.
Moving on with road surfacing update.
Before we move
Oh,
on,
sorry.
Mayor,
Certainly.
as Councilman Gambrell is displaying this evening, so if you we have town attire, all of the councils have. Are we wearing those attire at the annual meeting?
This is one of those occasions I would strongly recommend your button-up shirt with the logo, polos with the logo, any swag gear that you have with Batesburg-Leesville on it. I would certainly recommend wearing that at this event.
Thank you. Continue on, please.
Okay. The in-town road resurfacing, if you haven't noticed, there's been a number of streets already resurfaced here in town. I would encourage the public just to be aware that with street resurfacing, there are likely possibilities that there could be some residual road tar that comes up on your vehicles. Just be cautious. I would certainly say if you're noticing that they're paving a road one day, give it a little bit longer to dry out if you can before proceeding down that road. We have had a couple contacts with regards to that. But at this point, South Fair Avenue, Lexington Street, Beatonbow Street, and Hallman Street, as I'm aware, they're going very fast, but that's what I'm aware of at this point, has been done.
Cedar Street was completed this morning.
Okay.
We're certainly grateful for that.
Cedar Street was done this morning, so I believe it's C.R. Jackson that's doing the work right now, and they are moving at a very fast rate on these resurfacing projects. Just as a reminder, this is Lexington County's resurfacing project with utilizing their C funds that they have. This was a return of surplus C funds that they weren't expecting. But this is Lexington County resurfacing project.
And these C funds come from the state, correct?
These C funds do come from the state.
Yep.
And it's a percentage-based C fund that the county receives based on the total gas tax. There are roads remaining to be resurfaced. Academy Street, Bond Street, Blanding Street, Circle Drive, Marion Street. Cedar was done this morning. Fox Street, and all of Highway 1 through town. Now, that is not part of the C fund, but just aware that Highway 1 through DOT is performing this one will be done completely through town.
Have they given us estimated start date on Highway 1?
Likely this fall, like coming up in the next couple months. Right. Now, the widening will be more 2019, but the resurfacing of Highway 1 later this fall.
And Brody Road.
And Brody Road, that's left to be done as well, but since they've moved to Cedar, I look for Brody to come real soon.
Next, I think. So, it's good.
That's it for that one.
Thank you. Moving on to item C, CDBG Sewer Lift Station Project Update.
So as we've been updating, this project is underway. At this point, the bypass pumping, or the bypass piping portion of the project is complete for 3 of the 4 pump stations that we're having done. Hartwell, which is Berwick Offray, North Lee, and Shealy Pond. The bypass piping has been done there. The bypass piping construction for the north plant is scheduled to begin this week, and that'll be the 4th and final station for the bypass pumping. Still waiting on all the generators to arrive to be installed at these pump stations. Later on, we'll be getting the SCADA installed as well for the remote information back to the wastewater treatment plant.
That's great. Moving on to item D, C Fund Sidewalk Project Update.
In addition to the street resurfacing that we have going on in town, we do, many people have probably noticed that sidewalks are being repaired throughout town. This is part of that $40,000 that Lexington County has given us in C Fund money to repair existing sidewalks. I believe the largest portion of work at this point has been along West Church Street where the old Burlington plant was tore down. There was a big stretch of sidewalk sticks through there, and I believe they've moved up to the almost the Church and Pine intersection, and then there's going to be some done here soon on Pine, and there'll be more flowing around to Highway 1. So they're continuing on. They're making good progress, and they're working very quickly.
That's great.
Come in.
Mary Kay's calling. Item E, upcoming smoke alarm blitz.
Okay, so good news. The State Fire is providing our fire department with 65 smoke alarms, which must be installed in the Saluda County portion of the town. So these alarms are coming to us at no cost. So our fire department, Chief Hendricks and those guys are partnering with not only State Fire for their donation, but with the Red Cross, and they're trying to work with some others to maybe get some more fire alarms as a part of this, maybe some CO detectors. And we did a blitz, I believe, Chief, 2 years ago? We did that blitz?
3 years.
3 years ago. Very successful blitz. We're able to get out, and that morning we went and just knocked on people's doors. Ms. Mitchell, this would be within your district, this particular blitz. We are looking at this occurring as of now on Saturday, August 11th. We'll go out door to door, make sure people have working smoke alarms. If they have no smoke alarms, those smoke alarms will be installed. Certainly if they have some that are out of batteries, hopefully we'll have some batteries. We can just help them change that out. So we are looking at doing a smoke alarm blitz on August 11th.
And this is being funded by Saluda County?
No.
Or it's just part of the
State Fire?
Yeah, State Fire, which is State Fire Marshal's Office, they had smoke alarms that are available, and we sought it out. They have some available for Saluda County because of just economics or demographics, not for Lexington County. So we were able to secure that, but they have to be installed in Saluda County.
That's great.
But they're all paid for through State Fire.
Chief, do we still have any left or that can be placed in Lexington County?
We have some that we have in stock right now. So if anybody calls, and we had a phone call earlier today about smoke alarms, anybody that calls, just send them our way. We have some that we think.
And that's a reminder to the public, that's a service we've been providing for years now, is if it's somebody elderly, lower income, needs smoke detectors, checked or fixed or installed in their home, they can contact the fire department.
That's great. Thank you. Moving on to item F, upcoming RIA, Grant Opportunity Project Idea. Why don't you start by telling everyone what IRA?
All right, the Rural Infrastructure Authority is an affiliate group of the South Carolina Department of Commerce. And this was established to provide rural grant opportunities for rural areas. And it's not always used just for rural areas, but I know a lot of emphasis are placed on rural infrastructure. And so they provide up to $500,000 in grants, and it is a competitive grant process. Typically your requests outweigh the amount of funding that they do have. And so our Richard Street water tank, as you may recall, that was funded with the Rural Infrastructure Authority grant, which was the first one the town had ever gotten through that group since they had been established. Well, since we're feeling the love from the last one, we are prepared to go back to them with another request. And just sitting down talking with Tim about the needs, we have pretty much, outside of the water project, we have hit the majority of the consent order needs at this point. Besides that portion, we would like to turn some attention to the wastewater treatment plant and some improvements that need to be done there. So in talking through it, there's one of two ways that we would like to look to go with another application since we've closed out this past rural infrastructure grant. One would be to do an application for their assistance with the construction of a sludge holding digestion basin at the wastewater treatment plant. That would assist us with our sludge removal process and the holding of our sludge material, which is something we do typically have reoccurring problems with. That would help drastically with that. Or depending on what our cost opinion comes back, that could be upwards to $750,000. And if they're giving $500,000, you've got a gap. Now, I think there's opportunity financially for us to even close the gap and to be able to, if we can get a $750,000 project for $250,000, $300,000, that's still very much a positive on our side. And I think our finances would still allow us to go that direction if we could. But that was something we would have to come to you guys and certainly get approval for.
Aren't those 80-20?
Those are 80, more like a 75-25, because because of the census tract, we're actually in a non-eligible county. And the wastewater treatment plant Lacey County is a non-eligible county. Now, that does not stop you from getting it. You can be within eligible census tracts.
But they also changed that to open it up to municipalities instead of just counties, correct? With the rural infrastructure.
It has been open to both municipalities and counties previously. But with it being a non-eligible county but in an eligible census tract, we have to pay for all the engineering side of this, plus you have a 25% match. So it's not just the 25%, it's the 25% plus the engineering cost. But again, if we pay 35% of the cost and they're paying 65% of the cost, and we're getting a major project completed, as long as we review the finances, council approves of it, that is still very much a win-win for us. Beats paying 100% of the cost. But it's something that we do need to come to council if that's the direction we go to talk about the funding for that. An alternate project could be the installation of SCADA system and process control equipment and replacing the power distribution panel and new power panels at the wastewater treatment plant. That would be an alternate option.
Okay.
We'll keep you posted on that.
Thank you. At this time, item 11, executive session. Do I have the discussion of contractual matters relating to proposed Twin City Park basketball court? Do I have a motion?
Motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Simpkins, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gambrell. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? And we are now in executive session. Ladies and gentlemen, motion made by Mr. Gambrell to come out of executive session and resume regular session, second by Mr. Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? And we are back in regular session. Yeehaw. Let's see. Any possible actions? We have no possible actions. Do I
need a word of prayer?
Thank you for that.
Do we have prayer already?
Yeah, we already have prayer.
Okay.
Yeah. And moving on to potential agenda items for next month's meeting, item 13. Anyone?
I hope that we're able to vote on something regarding that in the next 30 days on the playground basketball court. I'm going to work diligently to get everybody the information that they need. So if we have that, I would definitely like to have that. It's up to you, Mayor.
Also, Mayor, next month I would like
Yes, sir.
to have on the agenda, if it's council's pleasure, to have a discussion of reinstating the council's stipend.
Certainly.
Ordinance.
Okay. Anything else?
We didn't have enough tonight.
All right. Hey, moving on to adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Kane, second by Mr. Simpkins. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Everyone raise your right hand. Mr. Gambrell, raise your right hand. Any opposed? All right, and we are adjourned. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.